Hey everyone, welcome to another video on the JayBee
Hey.
and Milly channel. Today we are going to be recording my live reaction to the first episode of the Velma show. Now, as I'm sure those of you that follow the channel will know, JayBee has already seen the first two episodes and already done some amazing content surrounding those, so be sure to check that out. But like I say, this is my immediate reaction. I've only seen perhaps the first 2 minutes of this, so all of this is going to be fresh. And honestly, I kind of apologize in advance if it's negative. My expectations are quite low, but at the same time, I'm also here to be pleasantly surprised. So, when you're ready, JayBee, feel free to press play.
Yeah, this is also our first ever proper reaction video ever, so
Yeah.
we've got some stuff to learn, so I apologize if it's a bit clunky.
And if they are about girls, it's usually like, hey, what made this hot chick go crazy? So to remedy this,
I like the creeper mask. Okay, I see that.
Okay, team shower discussion topic of the day. Have you ever noticed how pilot episodes of TV shows
I don't know that this is fully necessary.
I mean, you
At
know
all.
me, I'm always one for, ever since I was 6 years old, I've wanted to see Daphne's bare cheeks,
Oh my
right?
gosh,
Watching the
JayBee.
2002 movie. But the fact that the first time that we've seen it is when they're in high school is what I think is kind of it made this unwatchable for me personally. So
I think it's unnecessary, and not only that, random thing to pick up on, I know. Daphne's meant to be a natural redhead, right? Why have they done her eyebrows black?
oh, I thought you were gonna go somewhere else there.
No.
Although that in itself, although then again, the hair dye is so common nowadays.
I wasn't expecting such an enlightened answer from such
a bitch. Velma? What the heck?
I mean, I've already got several issues with this, I'm going to admit.
See, now if this was a show,
It's completely unnecessary that there's so many of them without clothes on. Velma
Can I ask
hitting
you a
someone
mad
over the
question?
head is a big no-no.
You know when you're a woman in school, is
Right.
this how you shower? Or is this like completely fabricated?
No,
Obviously,
because I don't know.
UK school, US school, maybe it's different, but
I don't know if I'm going to sound grim now, but the girls at school never use the showers.
you minger.
God's not real if you two morons are running this investigation.
Oh, how we've missed that sense of humor, girl. Seriously, how
Oh,
long has it been since
gosh.
Stefan had you over to our house?
This is painful. I mean, like, the 2002 movie had to be edited because of the word demons and it upsetting people that were religious. She just said God's not real, and they're okay with this. I also don't like this vibe for, like, Daphne's mums either. Like, Daphne's a very, like, fashiony, girly kind of person. And I very much prefer the adaptation where you get her mum kind of mirroring that a little bit, you know, like Mystery Incorporated and like the Mystery Incorporated series, both of which, you know, the live action one that they do on YouTube as well. I really like the adaptation of Daphne's mum there. I don't get it here.
It's so weird. It's like it's meant to be a bit of a rough school, but I swear from everyone's houses that I've seen, they all look really rich, and yet even judging by Daphne's parents, they don't seem rich, right? I don't know how much detectives get paid, but
Oh, the poster on the wall just had the ghost clown.
Not now, Daft. Jeez.
Then when, Fred? When? And just FYI, I didn't kill Brenda.
See, if they wanted to do an adult Scooby series where it's made adult because they want to explore kind of darker themes and things like that, I'd get it. Right now, I'm not getting this. Like, I feel like they're throwing in swearing, sex references, and other stuff just purely for shock factor. It's not with any purpose other than to shock people in a bad way.
yeah. Although then again, I guess understand that this is kind of watered down compared to some of the other animated shows that I've watched. Like there was that one that I tried to watch because David Kay was in it called Farzar, and that was a million times more stupid than this. So I don't know what they're going for in terms of age rating, but this is actually kind of mild compared to some of the other things out there.
So special.
I mean, it's bad that the first time I've remotely laughed is the funeral.
Thank you, Chris.
That says a lot about this show so far.
That's why I look like as a baby.
It's cute.
Hi, sweetie.
See, my mother.
I like this backstory bit. I like the story about the mum, how she's like writing mysteries and then Velma goes on to want to solve them.
Velma! There you are!
Norville? What the hell?
You didn't answer my
Mm.
voicemails, and then my dad heard me call you the B word, so I lost my phone for 24 hours. But I had to find you because I still don't
Oh
know
no.
It's all this VM's voicemail stuff. It's kind of like, I don't know one person that refers to them as VMs or anyone under the age of 30 that actually leaves voicemails. At least unless it's for like work or something, but maybe I just never talk to anyone.
This is the worst. This is the second or third worst adaptation of Daphne I think we've seen.
I like the voice though.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the voice. It's just like the grumpy attitude. Like Daphne's the people person. Genuinely, like she's like the school bully that needs a good like beating down to size.
Jesus. I mean, I agree, but at the same time, I can kind of maybe hold out some hope in that this is episode 1 of I think 9, and so if you're the finished product in episode 1, what journey are we going to go through in the series type thing? So maybe it's more Daphne by the end of it, but I agree with what you said.
I mean, can I be real? And like, I apologize to anyone who did work really hard on this because you can see it has been, you know, worked on. The animation's good and everything. But if I wasn't watching this for the channel, I'd have turned this off by now. I don't like it. It's a pretty sad existence.
Yeah, but if they're smart, they'll use some of these lines to sell Valentine's Day cards. I love watching you watch this.
It's awful.
I want to see you watch this every day.
It's terrible.
Oh no.
It's okay. I'm just gonna do to you what I did to Brenda.
You saved my life.
It was a checkbook, no?
They assumed you were packed.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Just open the gift.
As annoying as I was.
Oh, I swear, watch this be like the most important gift, like, or the most important clue for the whole series, and it's conveniently opened at the last, like, the penultimate episode.
The mystery is what's in this gift. I swear, like, it's just so. What is it? Like
The
something that
mystery-
attracts cockroaches?
See, it is a recurring thing with the cockroaches, but then I think that just signifies what we may see.
That was awful. Is there a zombie going around eating brains?
You know what?
Is it and like? Is it just
Watch
like?
it be a real paranormal thing, and if it is a zombie, you know
Is
what?
it like an allegory, just that like popular girls don't have brains and that kind of awful stereotype?
You're actually suggesting some pretty decent stuff, you know. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it could be a bitter, vengeful student that sees like the popular girls like that, yeah. Or it could be a real, genuine, supernatural zombie that is hoping to feed off brains. So
Maybe.
you legitimately are coming up with some decent theories there, like maybe ironically, maybe unironically. But that is good. That is good. So tell me, spread your wisdom.
Okay.
What's your verdicts? What's your thoughts? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Oh, one of those questions is a challenge. Okay, so I hated it. If it wasn't for the channel, I would have turned it off. I think that they have kind of gone out of their way. Here's the thing. If you're using swearing sex references, nudity, stuff like that with a purpose. It's used to make people laugh, or it's used to further a story. Fine, do it. This is like it kind of just went out of its way to upset people. It's kind of like they were been spiteful to purists who care about Scooby, and almost like you was kind of saying, like I was saying earlier, like think about the 2002 movie and think about everything that was taken away from that. They took out, and like they had to edit out Daphne's cleavage. They had to.
To be fair, I don't agree with that though.
No, but they had to remove the scene where it even insinuated that Fred and Daphne had shared a hotel room. They had to take out a reference to demons because it was going to upset people who were religious, which, you know, a lot of kind of, you know, people who encourage their children to watch Scooby have quite strong beliefs, feel like Scooby aligns well with their beliefs. Things like that, that matter to a lot of people, but personally, you know, aren't my motives for watching it. But I feel like it wasn't used to make a story. It was used to just shock people and evoke a negative reaction as opposed to a positive one.
The thing is, I'm all one for upsetting purists. Like, not on purpose, but I'm all one for breaking the mold and doing something different. And there has been a part on my back that I've not been able to reach. And it's been an intense itch for an adult take on Scooby-Doo. Give me as many drug references, sex references, innuendo, swear words as you want. But try as this series might, it actually hasn't even come close to scratching that itch, because I'm quite entertained. I'll admit I'm more entertained watching you watch it than I did watching it for myself. But I think no matter how good this series it could be, like even if it gets absolutely amazing in episode 2, 3, 4, whatever, I don't think it's even going to come close to the need I have for a more adult take on Scooby, because it isn't Scooby. That's the thing. And I think what we're going to get ultimately is, for me personally, a pretty good, decent, edgy cartoon, right? But it isn't adult Scooby. And unfortunately, I think because of the way this has been received, how I think it's going to be viewed and how successful it's going to be, I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to an adult take on Scooby ever. So that's kind of my main beef with it. Like, I think this will potentially prevent season 3 of Mystery Incorporated or the Gosnell cut being released. And that's my main issue with it. Like, I really wanted adult Scooby, and this isn't it.
Okay, see, the thing of the adult Scooby, I kind of had my itch scratched, as you were saying, by book 3 of the Daphne and Velma series. For me, that kind of scratched any itch I had for something that was a bit kind of aimed at a higher age, because there was some things in that I was like, oh my gosh, that's in a Scooby-Doo book. Oh my gosh. But at the same time, it served a purpose being there. This didn't serve any purpose. There was no purpose to having 6 naked girls in the shower at the start. There was no purpose to Velma swearing. There was no purpose to her new stepmom or whoever she is stripping off and having a baby protruding out of her stomach.
I wouldn't even say that she was swearing. And I know that I'm going to get criticised for that. But
are you okay?
It seems like they want to swear for the sake of me reminding us that it's adults.
Yeah.
But they're not committing. Like, if I think about my time at high school, my time at college, we never ever once said the word crap. That was never in our vocabulary. It was always a lot worse. And so when I hear that word in this show, it's, oh yeah, now they're reminding us what the age rating is. But if they want to be a bit more realistic with it, come on, like, they go a bit harder. But I don't dislike the show. It just definitely isn't Scooby, which was a main criticism that people had going into it, and that I didn't agree with. But it to me, it isn't Scooby without the dog, and I actually did clown on people for saying that beforehand. But it's kind of like, without that, we're not really getting that adult Scooby-Doo show. We're just getting teen murder show, which could be good, could be bad. Whatever.
I mean, another one of my thoughts as well is, I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. You were saying it's not Scooby. It's also not done enough to not be Scooby. Like, hear me out here. if you were a 7-year-old child who loves Scooby-Doo and you turned on the TV and you saw a picture, a screenshot of one of the episodes, it's close enough that you can identify it as Velma, right?
See, that's
So
the
as
thing.
a
How? What
kid
is the
that's
child lock
7
on
years
HBO
old,
Max?
I don't know, but as a kid at 7 years old, it doesn't do enough to differentiate from being Scooby. And one thing I will say more than anything else actually makes me angry a little bit about this show. I'm genuinely angry that we didn't get Holiday Haunt, we didn't get Haunted High Rise, and we did get this. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous because like I say, if it wasn't for the channel and for making content for everyone, I wouldn't want to watch more than episode 1 of this. Yet there was an amazing team behind Scoob and behind Trick or Treat that had a second project lined up that would have contributed far more greatly to the world of Scooby than this is. This isn't going to get a second series.
Definitely
This
not.
is barely going to survive series 1. There's going to be so much hate on Twitter. There's going to be, well, there probably already is. I have not checked
If
Twitter
this
today.
gets a second season, I will get a Velma tattoo.
Like, it's awful. Oh, this sounds really mean. It's just terrible. It goes out of the way to irritate people. It doesn't go out of the way to create a story. I don't know why they've got Shaggy simping for Velma. That doesn't suit his character at all. His character has always been about that close bond with Scooby and a love for food. It completely moves away from his character. Daphne, they have made her some awful person when she's always been the people person. And I don't think that that's necessary. And you know what? I'm going to keep coming back to the Daphne and Velma book here because Morgan Baden did an incredible job of balancing that well of, okay, Daphne and Velma aren't friends at the minute, but you still see some glimmer of hope there. Like, she doesn't outright make them mortal enemies. Like, Velma smacking Daphne's head
Well,
with
that's the
that.
thing. I would disagree with that in a way. I would say in book 1 by Josephine Ruby, I would say they kind of are mortal enemies, but I think they do it a lot better there. And that's the thing. If this was completely original, we've never seen this before, fine, we take what we get. But we literally get a lot of the same storyline beats that try and play out in episode 1 in those Daphne and Velma books, and it's done a lot better there.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's kind of like
but
when
like
there's an easy
Velma,
alternative.
when Velma hits Daphne over the head with a hockey stick, what's the point? Relevant how? Like, this is going to sound ridiculous,
I
but
don't know why she did that.
if I
That's
was
the
a
one thing that
7-year-old
confuses
child
me.
that loved Scooby-Doo that came across this by accident and saw that scene, you can laugh at me all you want. I'd be running in the kitchen in tears to my mum. Like, I'd wonder what the heck was going on. Like, I wouldn't be happy at all. And like I was saying, it doesn't do enough to differentiate from the series on that point because it can be affiliated with Scooby. There is nothing to stop a 7-year-old who sees a screenshot from this being able to say that's Velma because it is. It
Well, that's the
definitively
thing.
is.
It is definitively Velma. That's the main issue because the issue that I've got with it is it didn't need to be Velma. Like, if that makes sense. Like, it is Velma. It is definitely Velma, but nothing in terms of the character and even what we see going on necessitates that link to the franchise. Like, it could just be, and I'm gonna use a stereotypical name because I don't have any creativity, but you know, Patel PD, Indian girl, schoolgirl investigates, like Rani from the Sarah Jane Adventures. And it would be maybe not the best written adult comedy, but it's there.
Yeah.
There's nothing that needs it to go, yes, this is Scooby. This is an adult take on the characters we know and love. Because it isn't. The 2002 movie for me is still that to me is more adult Scooby. And that's what we need. We need the Gosnell cut, and then I'm happy.
No, I agree. And like you say, I do agree with everything that you're saying. It didn't need to be that this was a Scooby franchise. It's kind of like they were trying to monopolize on the fact that it is well-known characters and kind of more adult cartoons can be done well. Like, I've got some great memories from when I was growing up. So I was about 16, 17. I'd go around to my sister's house for dinner and to help with some stuff at least once a week. And that night, I'd be sat on the sofa with her kids, her husband, and like Simpsons would be on and Futurama would be on as we're eating dinner, and we'd all be laughing. And ultimately, they are cartoons that have a more adult take that work well because they utilize kind of those adult themes to make people laugh, to increase humor, to kind of touch upon some hard-hitting issues, but in kind of making light of them at the same time.
It does annoy me though, because everything that I've been thinking about that's negative towards this series is what the haters and the purists were saying before the series was out. And it's like, of course they're vindicated in that sense. But it's almost like I'm still not a fan of saying that type of thing before we know for sure. And maybe we won't even know for sure until the series is over. But at least now it's like, okay, I've got issues that are like purist issues or issues that people would have, casuals on Twitter, purists. But at least now I know that I'm saying it in an informed way. Like, we've seen the product, this is our opinion on it, as opposed to, or it could be this, or even just without that, just, oh, I bet they've done it for this reason. So I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also asked for the positives, right?
Yeah, tell me what you love and adore about
This
it.
is a push, but the art style is more aesthetically pleasing than Mystery Map. So it's not the ugliest Scooby movie they've ever made, that Scooby thing they've ever made. Mystery Map was worse. The voice of Daphne was quite good. Oh, this is controversial. I don't know if this is controversial. I just feel bad saying it. I hated the voice of Velma. It wasn't nasally enough. It wasn't like enough. I don't know what that was. But the voice of Daphne was fine. Fred's character made me laugh a lot. Well, not a lot, because obviously you've seen the reaction. It at least made me smile. And that's kind of where it draws the line. Just the art style, Daphne's voice, and Fred kind of made me smile. That's it.
That's the thing about Velma. The voice to me is less annoying than Kate McCucci at her worst, because that's like something from Alvin and the Chipmunks or something. But it's not as good as Mindy Cohn, not as good as not as good as Linda Cardellini. Name a Velma, not as good as obviously Nicole Jaff.
Got a controversial opinion for you.
But with Mindy Kaling, I always just hear Mindy Kaling. Like, she's not done anything to change her voice whatsoever. And so that's kind of the distracting thing for me. Just because I know Mindy Kaling's voice quite a lot, it's very distracting to me.
I've got a controversial thing to say to you.
Do your mic draw.
I would have enjoyed this series more if it was voiced by Kate McCucci.
Well, I don't know if I fully back that, but at
I
least
would.
Be...
It's more typical Velma. Like, she at least, even if it's too nasally, there's a little bit of nasaliness there to it. It is more definitively Velma. And like, no, I don't think I can say that. What's your thoughts on Shaggy's character? I was about to say something and I don't think it's correct.
Yeah, come on.
So here's my kind of thoughts, right? And I don't know how incorrect or correct they are. I feel so, I don't know, I feel weird saying this and I could be wrong, but like, hear me out here, right? So a voice actor...
It is politically correct. Who cares? As long as people know that you're not a racist person, I've got no time for being overly politically correct anyway. Like, you're not racist. Like, this isn't an apartheid war.
You saying Velma just sounds like Mindy Kaling, right? 100%. Think about voice actors, incredible voice actors like Frank Welker. He can't just voice act people that look like him and that is a cartoon version of him. He can voice act animals. He can do some incredible things with his voice. And here it's kind of like they've brought somebody in who they think looks like the character, so naturally they sound like them, as opposed to what cartoons are, which is actually talented voice actors who can do incredible things with their voice and make you believe that they're different people. Do you kind of get what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah, it's definitely politically correct, and I think it's more of a symptom of a larger issue than like race bending or whatever. I think it's just when big time celebrities, movie stars come in trying to be voice actors, it's never as good as the proper thing, right? Like, and you cannot compare even, and you can't, there's a right way to do it. Like, I think when a character is a celebrity, but they make the character so much their own, it works. Like Ellen DeGeneres as Dory, I still think she's become so synonymous with that character that it works. And even just learning a different craft, having enough dedication to it can get you there. Like Matthew Lillard made it big doing Scream, and I think what is it, SLC Punk, 13 Ghosts. But because he literally like used to scream his head off in the car to audition to be live action Shaggy, that his transition into voice acting, you knew that he worked really hard to not just be, hey, look, it's the guy from Scream in a Scooby-Doo movie. It's no, Matthew Lillard studied Casey Kasem, like tried to get that voice and is now the full-time voice of Shaggy. But when it comes to people like this, I don't think they've got ambitions to be the next Shaggy or anything. It's just, I'm me. I was hired because I've got 8 million Instagram followers that I can promote this show to. So it would be stupid for me to change my voice because my fans are going to come to this show to hear me. And I think it's a symptom of that. Like,
but please appreciate what I'm saying. Like, I have no issue with how Velma looks in this show. I think that honestly,
she's basically me.
It needed an update. Like, there's no way that every single person that the gang interacts with in series and stuff is just a typical white school person. Like, it needed to be more than
unless
that.
It's like some weird part of the UK where that is genuinely the case.
So in regards to race and stuff like that, I'm happy they gave it that update. I think it certainly is more realistic to have kind of the divide that they do at the minute in terms of different origins and things like that. But at the same time, I feel like they tried to make Velma Mindy Kaling, because ultimately there's just so many things that just don't align with Velma. Like her swearing, she's a bit moodier. I'm sure there's a line where it says that Shaggy's doing her maths homework and stuff like that. Like, it just doesn't cling to that intelligence that Velma has. It certainly shows more of a kind of attitude and things. I just don't think it aligns with Velma. So I think they tried to... I'm happy with them shifting the look. I thought she looked fine. But I'm not happy with the shift in personality and the shift in voice. I think they tried to move too far away from who Velma is at their core. I don't know if I'm kind of presenting this the way that I mean to, but ultimately, like I say, what I'm kind of getting at is I don't think we needed to move Velma's character further away to being the voice actor. Like, I think we, could have a voice actor that could just be Velma quite well. Like I say, Frank Welker doesn't need to be a dog to voice Scooby. He does it quite well without, do you know what I mean? I know what I'm trying to say. I just don't think I'm communicating it how I want
I will defend this series to a little bit of an extent in that it's been like some of the criticisms that people have been making up for it have been genuinely ridiculous. Like, I've seen so many comments of people calling this show racist because Velma is Indian and she's the smart one and that's stereotypical. But just because something is a stereotype, it doesn't mean it's racist. Some stereotypes are true and there's no getting around with that. And growing up with an Indian woman, I'll tell you, either you are good at maths and science or you know how to pretend to be good at maths and science, because there's a brutal slipper that comes out if you're not. Trust me. So, yeah. But you know what? Hand on heart, I will give the experience of watching you watch this show a solid 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
One thing we've not discussed very much is Shaggy.
I think we just
well, I guess we did. I don't know.
He's kind of a nothing character. He's boring. That's my issue. He's like, okay, I guess he likes Velma.
How are we concluding this? Is this a smash or pass? Is this?
Oh, no. But I guess our in depth. This is a reaction, so we're probably going to formulate better points when we do the formal review.
Yeah.
I guess we'll put a number on it to finish this off.
Okay.
Out of a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being absolutely not, 10 being the best thing in the world. How excited are you to watch episode 2? 0.
You see what that is?
Okay, 0.
I would also give this episode a 0 out of 10.
So obviously this was Milly's reaction. I've seen this before. I've done my initial thoughts, audio style and stuff. So yeah, I guess if you want more content around that, weekly interviews, and of course maybe a part two on this, depending on how painful it is to edit, then please like, comment, and subscribe.
JayBee and Milly.